Peter Parker might die in Spider-Man 4. And yes, we are talking about Tom Holland Spider-Man 4, not Tobey Maguire's. There is a possibility that Tom Holland Spider-Man could die in Spider-Man 4. However, there is a catch to this. He will be brought back to life by the Venom symbiote. Let me explain. Insider Daniel RPK reported that filming for Spider-Man 4 is scheduled to start this fall, aiming for a release in fall 2025. Then he stated, the symbiote teased at the end of No Way Home is expected to feature in the movie. But the really interesting part is what followed this. Several insiders have hinted that Spider-Man is actually going to die. This post on Twitter got many replies from insiders, from new insiders, and from some qualified, very reliable insiders as well. One came from the account Austinverse, who stated, he is dying and the Venom symbiote saves him. Get the black suit and the movie cuts to black, implying that this could actually be the very end of the film. Cryptic HD Quality, who has a very, very excellent track record, posted a gif of a coffin about to go into the ground and somebody slipping over it. And to top it all off, in reply to the gif that Cryptic HD Quality posted, Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus, a very credible, reputable outlet, posted this. He'll bounce back. It's not like this will be the first time he died. Again, further implying that the symbiote might save Peter Parker's life in Spider-Man 4. This would be a really cool way to have the symbiote attached to Peter Parker. This would also set Peter Parker up to use the Venom symbiote in Secret Wars, because if the symbiote saves his life, he's not going to believe that it's bad in any way. And that would make sense because we've heard that for the very first time when he uses the suit, it's actually going to be in Avengers Secret Wars. So if this is the ending of Spider-Man 4, then we'll see the true Spider-Man with the Venom symbiote come to life in Avengers Secret Wars, just like they did in the comics for the very first time. And that way he can use the suit throughout the entirety of Secret Wars without thinking that it's bad for him in any way. And he can come back in Spider-Man 5, and then they could address the fact that the symbiote's not actually so good. So right away, let me know, do you think this is a good story idea? Would you like to see this happen in Spider-Man 4? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, to top this news off, we have some news coming directly from Sony about Spider-Man 4. And according to a new report from Sony themselves, Spider-Man 4 is going to be an incredibly significant event. And that sentence is coming directly from Sony Pictures chairman Tom Rothman. We already knew that Spider-Man 4 was going to be big, but it's starting to sound like this movie could be even bigger than we thought it was going to be. And it sounds like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man might be returning for this film as well. And it sounds like Sony's input and influence over the new Spider-Man 4 movie with Tom Holland coming to the MCU might have affected the movie a little bit more than we thought it has. So not too long ago, we started to hear that Sony was really starting to kind of pressure Marvel Studios about Spider-Man 4. They had started to give them their input on what they specifically wanted from the movie, from the story, from the characters, everything with Spider-Man 4. Even though this is a Marvel Studios MCU film, of course, Sony is sharing the rights with Marvel Studios, so they do have a say. And originally, when we first heard this news, this really did concern kind of everybody. Marvel Studios had a very particular story in mind for Spider-Man 4, with them wanting it to be a pretty grounded story, tying into Kingpin and Daredevil Born Again and The Punisher. Meanwhile, Sony wanted to go all out and go even bigger than Spider-Man No Way Home and make this a big, huge multiversal film. Then we heard that they kind of found a medium. They kind of both agreed on what the movie was going to be, and both parties were happy, which is great, but now it sounds like the multiverse aspect of it is going to indeed be a huge part, which makes sense considering we are going to be going into Avengers Secret Wars. But yesterday, a Sony executive gave us a little bit of an update about Spider-Man 4, also Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse for those interested in that movie as well. The Sony executive talked about both of them. Also, he hints that Venom 3 is going to be an incredibly huge movie. Yesterday, in an interview with Deadline, Sony chairman Tom Rothman was asked how movies are going to be great. Now, the question that was asked to him wasn't specifically about Spider-Man or Venom, though he chose to mention both in his answer, but they were asked about Planet of the Apes and the upcoming Zelda movie franchise, and looking at video game IPs as good movies that they could possibly make, and basically how to make good movies. And this is what he had to say in response. And this should make Zelda fans feel a little bit better about the live-action Zelda movie that is coming. He said, because the movie is being developed and made in the closest possible collaboration with Nintendo video game designer Shigeru Miyamoto. He's a true genius in that world, and it's really his strong vision that is motivating it. He created it and understands it thoroughly, which is great news. But he goes on to say, the larger point I'm making is that I think a healthy slate going forward is not going to be one side of the divide or the other. It's going to have a balance of big IP solid sequels. Let me tell you, when the last of the Spider-Verse movies comes with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, it's going to be a significant event, as will the next Tom Holland Spider-Man film. And when all the Karate Kid storylines come together with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan and a new young Karate Kid, for those fans, that's going to be a significant moment. We have those. The third and last Venom is going to be huge. Now, his comments about both Spider-Man movies and the last Venom movie make me think that Spider-Man and Venom are finally going to meet. And remember, Tom Hardy and Sony have been wanting Tom Holland Spider-Man to interact with Tom Hardy's Venom for a very long time, since the very first Venom film. Unfortunately, in the first Venom film, Marvel Studios are the ones that said no. They didn't want people to confuse the universes. They didn't want people to think that Venom and our Spider-Man with Tom Holland were in the same universe, which we totally understood at the time. However, now we are in the multiverse saga, and a lot of multiverse events are happening, and we've had Spider-Man No Way Home already, where we saw Spider-Man from other universes in the MCU. Plus, not to mention the post-credit scenes for both Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home. Clearly, they both set up Venom and Spider-Man. Now, they were a little bit confusing, but again, Tom Hardy said that the finale, what he wants for Venom, is to go up against Spider-Man. He said that if they were in the Olympics, the gold medal would be Venom and Spider-Man together in a movie. And here's what is really interesting about what the chairman said. He said that they're even connecting the Karate Kid franchise. They're going to bring Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan together, who are from two different Karate Kid franchises. Plus, Beyond the Spider-Verse is a movie where a lot of different Spider-Man variants are going to come together as well. So clearly right now they are in the state of kind of making, or what they are trying to do is make really big movies that have really big, significant events where worlds collide, where characters collide. So one can imagine that this is what they are doing for Venom 3 and Spider-Man 4, which is really exciting to think about. I hope we get specifically Tom Hardy's Venom versus Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Fingers crossed. But also, what are we going to be getting for Spider-Man 4? How is this going to be a huge, significant event? Well, we heard that Sony wanted Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back for the movie. Plus, Venom could make his debut in the MCU as well. And if that is the case, then this movie really is going to be a huge, significant event because it already has so much going on for it, especially if the other Spider-Men show up, and I think they could, but at the end of the movie, but we'll get to that in just a bit. Things that are reportedly going to happen in this movie are, 1, Kingpin is going to be the main villain of New York City. He's going to make being a vigilante illegal, and that's kind of who the main villain is going to be. But at the same time, it's said that Miles Morales is going to make his MCU debut in this movie as well, which a lot of people are really looking forward to. We've also heard that Black Cat is going to be in the movie, and she's going to be a new romantic interest for Peter Parker. And now to top it all off, it sounds like the Venom symbiote is going to come into play in this movie as well. That's a lot. That's already pretty significant as it is, introducing all of these new characters and the Venom symbiote. But to top it all off, they are going to have a pretty big multiverse aspect to the film as well, most likely towards the end. Kingpin will pretty much be kind of the main focus of the film, but then at the end, they're going to shift more towards the threat of the entire multiverse being destroyed. And this could be where the other two Spider-Men come into play, because they might think, because of what they did in Spider-Man No Way Home, perhaps they are the cause of everything that has happened and they need to find each other again. Plus, not to mention, this movie will go directly into the next multiverse films. So the three Spider-Men could very well come together at the end of this movie once again. And it does make sense that Peter Parker would get the Venom symbiote in Spider-Man 4 because going into Secret Wars, he should have it, because that is where, in the comics, he gets the Venom symbiote for the very first time. And we've heard that they want to kind of do a pretty similar story in Secret Wars where Tom Holland does get the Venom symbiote and it helps him. And it makes sense that the Venom symbiote would help Tom Holland Spider-Man in the film because, well, based off of everything we know from the movies and the comics, of course the symbiotes are sentient beings and they're aware that they exist in a universe, in a multiverse, and if the multiverse gets destroyed, they get destroyed too. So there might not be too much conflict with the symbiote and Spider-Man in Spider-Man 4 or 4 in Secret Wars if this is the route that they want to go down, especially if the symbiote is actually going to save the life of Spider-Man. But either way, it's about to go down in Spider-Man 4. With everything we know already and possibly some other big surprises that Marvel and Sony could show us, I'm even more excited for the film now. But go ahead, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think could make this movie so significant and be such a huge event? Let us know in the comments down below, and please don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man and Marvel news. If you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered in our giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox Series X or PS5. We pick one winner at the end of every single month. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and would love your support on there as well. And of course, as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.